I'm Stan Brewer with InsiderIowa.com here at the State Capitol building this afternoon with GOP State Representative Rod Roberts, candidate for governor. How are you doing this afternoon, sir?
Very well, Stan. Thank you.
I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I might.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay, first let's start with what are your special qualities that make you the best GOP candidate for governor?
I think that the overarching theme to the campaign this year to compete with Governor Culver will be effective, capable leadership. And as a candidate, I bring specific qualities in my personal background, my vocational background that lend themselves to being an effective leader. For nearly 20 years, I've been in a statewide development position with the Christian churches, Churches of Christ, where I have overseen new church development and then led strategic planning initiatives and specific leadership development projects with local congregations. And so I've devoted my adult vocation to helping others essentially develop their leadership abilities, both as individuals and as teams or groups of leaders. So leadership has been a passion of mine, and then having now served 5 terms in the Iowa House of Representatives, this is my 10th year of session. Those leadership skills have lent themselves very well to being an effective state representative. And my colleagues within the House Republican Caucus have elected and re-elected me over and again to a leadership position to where I now serve as the senior leader within the House Republican Caucus. And so when you put those backgrounds, my vocational background as a development person, my legislative experience, my leadership role and position within the House Republican Caucus, they provide the kind of experience and expertise that many people have said, Rod, that qualifies you or credentials you to be a very certainly credible candidate in the race for governor. And I would emphasize those leadership qualities, and not just skills, but I think temperament, demeanor. There are facets of leadership that certainly go beyond just kind of having the skills or tools to be a leader. It's about an individual's ability to work with other people and not only know who you are as a leader, but to recognize that in a position of chief executive, you have to build a team of leaders who are capable and competent of providing leadership for state government. And I think I have that ability as well.
Okay. I'd like to ask you, what do you have to offer to independent voters?
Well, that's a great question. In fact, I have a very unique place among the 44 Republicans in the Iowa House of Representatives. I have the distinction of having the least friendly Republican House district among the 44 from a voter registration standpoint. My House district in west central Iowa includes all of Carroll County, the eastern half of Crawford County, and the 4 southeast townships of Sac County to the north. And from a voter registration standpoint, the independents are the largest voting bloc in Carroll County, followed then by Democrat registered voters, and less than 1/4 of the registered voters in Carroll County are Republicans. So by and large, I have the distinction of having that independent bloc of voters who are probably the largest constituency group that I have. And over the years, I've discovered that as a state representative, even with a Republican background, there has been tremendous support, particularly on the part of independent registered voters. I think partly because of my demeanor and temperament, but my ability to be able to engage others in conversation about issues that, though we may not always agree on an issue, I am friendly and civil and respectful of others and their points of view, and people, I think, value that in an elected official. And because I'm open-minded, there are some things I'm very certain of where folks know this is where Rod Roberts stands on a particular issue, but there are some areas where, from a pragmatic point of view, if you've got a challenge or a problem you're trying to find a solution to, you're open to having people of any background come to the table and offer their ideas and suggestions. And that's always been, I think, a characteristic of my service here as a state representative, and independents appreciate that. And I think the common thread with independent registered voters, and you hear this over and again from them, is that we always look at the candidates to determine who is best qualified to do the job of that particular elected position. And I seem to pass that litmus test quite well with the independents back home. And in my statewide gubernatorial campaign, there has certainly been receptivity among independent registered voters I meet along the campaign trail that kind of affirm what I already believe based on my experience back in my legislative district with the great support I have with independents.
Of course, you're a minister. How does that help you as a legislator and as a governor should you win?
I have that unique background, whereas vocationally speaking, that of a minister or a pastor, I've always thought that within the legislature, it's first and foremostly a people kind of institution. It's about people coming together, working together to find solutions to the challenges we face. And when you have the background of a pastor or minister, you discover that because that role and vocation is also very people intensive, when you take the skills that you've developed within ministry and you come into this arena, you discover that people are people no matter what the setting is. And I think that being able to listen well, being able to work with others, and knowing who you are, what you believe, where you're going, but at the same time being open to working with other people and finding solutions to problems and challenges makes, I think, for an effective combination in being able to serve well as a legislator and also then as governor.
I want to give you a chance to just say anything that you'd like to say in closing.
Appreciate that. I announced on July 21st that I had created an exploratory committee for the purpose of seeking the Republican nomination for governor, and I've been working extremely hard. In fact, for the first 5 to 6 months, I made the personal commitment to travel extensively, to meet as many people as I possibly could, and to speak as often as I could, and just as importantly, listen to as many people as I possibly could. Moving out of 2009 into January of 2010, put me in a position where, based on what I had discovered in that exploratory phase, there was a great deal of interest on the part of a lot of very open-minded Republicans specifically, but people in general, about somebody new, the proverbial fresh face in a field of candidates. And here we are, well into 2010, and I have a very good position in what I would describe as a solid alternative candidate position to two gentlemen who are presumptive frontrunners, former Governor Branstad and then Bob Vanderplots. And yet the open-mindedness and willingness to consider someone new has provided an opportunity for a candidate like me. And as I continue to travel and speak to people and listen, I just continue to gather more and more folks who are willing to be supportive and to be helpful in my campaign. So things are going very well. I like where I'm positioned within the field of candidates. I think one thing Republicans have to be very, very concerned about is the nominee is going to have to be the candidate who can best unite the party. And we have some challenges as Republicans in bringing people together and being united behind our candidate as we go into the general election campaign. And I think I possess the background, the temperament, the experience, the leadership, skills and abilities to be the candidate who can in fact rally Republicans and unite all aspects of our party's base, and then together move forward and share a compelling, convincing message with Iowans, independent registered voters, and at least conservative Democrats sufficiently to where we can build the numbers necessary to defeat Chet Culver. And I honestly believe that I can defeat Chet Culver, and it'd be an absolute honor to be the next governor of the state of Iowa. We have a campaign website where people can go to learn more about me and my campaign. It's very simply robertsforgov.com. I appreciate the opportunity to be interviewed today. Thank you, Stan.
Thank you very much for your time.